It's the number one question I get asked. Like, how is it being a woman in the Middle East? And can I tell you, it is better than the UK.
It is the best.
In the startup world in the UK, there's a lot of statistics around how little funding women get. Something like 3% of venture capital funding goes to women, which is shocking. Building a business is always going to be hard. Being an entrepreneur is always going to be hard. But I like to say you need to choose your hard. The support and the network and the female solidarity that you get here that I think is just fantastic. That sense of the American dream, I think it's now the Dubai dream.
In my opinion, is perfect for all. Those with children, those who are singles. I think it's so diverse.
Early childhood years and how happy a child is before they're 5 years old has a direct link to their mental health as an adult. The technology is here. And so we have to start optimizing those spaces for our well-being. Only 30% is about what you eat or what you do. 70% is about your environment. We can now integrate some of this technology into the walls of these buildings and take well-being to the next level. And that will set Dubai apart as a world leader in the next generation of real estate.
Welcome to Keys to Dubai. Today's guest is Sheena, who's the founder and CEO of StressPoint Health, company based in Dubai, and they just came up with their app. Hi, Sheena.
Hi, Victoria. Thank you for having me.
Sheena, I was so excited to have you here today, and I know we've been friends for some time. So I would like to begin from the very beginning. What brought you to Dubai?
Well, that's a big question, but I was living in Mumbai. I'd left London in around 2008, and I was living in Mumbai. I'd built my first company in the entertainment industry there. And Dubai was always appealing, and we used to come for weekends, either New Year's, Christmases. It was always a great getaway shopping from Mumbai to Dubai. And as I spent more time here, I felt an energy about this city that really appealed to me. And so in 2014, I moved here and I lived here for 3 years. And Dubai was very different then, I'll be honest. It was a lot quieter.
Which year was that?
2014.
Oh yeah, it's quite a change, yes.
Yeah, as you know, you've been here for 25 years. You've seen the changes.
I love the slogan, from Mumbai to Dubai.
Yeah. That's the name of one of my WhatsApp groups with my friends, really? Mumbai to Dubai, yeah.
Okay, very interesting. All right. And then you went back to?
Then work took me back to London for a time. My plan was not to stay in London. My plan was always to stay in Dubai, but I met my husband in London, so I always blame him. It was his fault that we ended up staying in London for so long. And with COVID and everything else in the middle, it wasn't until 2023 that we moved back. Right. And it was the best decision coming back.
Oh my God. Now, this is exciting because I love hearing from people who moved to Dubai and what makes it special. And especially when you say, oh my God, like it was the best decision.
Yeah.
Why is that?
For a few reasons. Number one, the sunshine. I love the sunshine. And that's probably everybody's primary reason for moving to Dubai. But actually that's probably number 5 for me because Dubai has an energy and a sense of opportunity that I think has left places like London. I don't think London, and from my friends in the US, that sense of the American dream, I think it's now the Dubai dream. I think the new American dream is Dubai. And that's not from what you see on Instagram where it's all the glitz and glamour. It's actually a place that you can build a business, be successful, work hard, yes, but really have an amazing life, and tax-free, of course. So that always helps.
Heaven. And to be honest with you, we are on the same page. That's exactly what I was thinking. I always compare Dubai to New York. Back in the day, when people were like flying from all over from Europe, the migration, that was the place when you start fresh and you build yourself up. And the transformation can be exceptional.
No, absolutely. You're so right. And I think for me, the center of the world has shifted. It used to be London and New York. Now it's Dubai and the Middle East. And I think the opportunities here, the ability to build a really amazing life are phenomenal. And I can't think of another place that has that same feeling.
I know, and you guys have no kids, and I know that Dubai, in my opinion, is perfect for all. Those with children, those who are singles, those who have no kids, but just married couples. I think it's so diverse.
Oh no, I agree with you. And I actually think primarily Dubai is really great for families. I think all my friends who have kids here, it reminds me of my childhood where there is an innocence and a protection of kids here that's gone from the West. And people argue that, kids here don't have street smarts and, they're in a bubble. But honestly, why not protect kids for as long as possible? They've got to face the realities of the world at some point. Why not give them a childhood that is innocent, that is safe, that is something that they will grow up to then, be able to see more of the world and understand it. But Dubai for me is that for kids. And I think also people have an opinion of Dubai as a single person or as a young couple, that it's all, parties and beach clubs. And don't get me wrong, we do a fair amount of that. But there's also time here. You get a little bit of time back. Like in London, it's just a rat race. You're just constantly, you're commuting, you're doing this, you're doing that. And you never really, I feel, or if I can speak for myself, sometimes you feel like you're missing quality time and the weather's, doesn't help. Whereas here, on the weekends, it feels like a mini break. We can, even if we go to the beach or we go away for a staycation, we actually get time back as a couple. And I think that's a really amazing part of Dubai too.
I agree with you. Well, I'd like to comment on parts about kids. I am a mother, and of course, for us, safety for our children is number one priority. And I often hear, oh, but your kids, they don't know how, when they're in Europe, how to be, how to act. You sure you don't want to take them more often? And I agree with you, what you just said, like, why risk? Give your kids safety, stability. I don't want anything to happen to my child.
Exactly.
It can be traumatic. And you are in mental health. You know how it is. When they're young, that's the time when we protect them, when they're just, forming their personality and everything. It's of crucial importance, I think.
It is so important that when we look at mental health specifically, and you reference mental health, early childhood years and how happy a child is before they're 5 years old has a direct link to their mental health as an adult. And so what we've seen through our work is that children who experience something traumatic or who go through something difficult when they're young, it can lead to lots of adult problems like addiction issues or mental health issues. And so why not protect children? And they can learn to take a tube and a train and be more aware of their environment when they go to Europe. They can be taught that, but you can't give back innocence once it's lost, to me.
That's exactly why Dubai is a choice, number one choice for parents, I think. Well, listen, even for, let's say, singles, let's say those who have no kids, isn't it wonderful? You out on a night and you are not worried about any crime or being robbed. Let's be frank, safety is such a major factor when it comes, doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it wasn't until I moved back to Dubai this time that I realized how much of my energy in my day in London was taken up worrying about my own personal safety. And coming here, it's so liberating. As a woman, you don't have to worry about that here. And it's honestly an amazing feeling. And you asked me what my number one thing is that I love about Dubai. It is that as a woman, I feel safe, I feel supported. There's so many fantastic women's networks and women's groups where you can meet other amazing women. It's not just all about the nightlife. Like there's a lot of serious people here who are looking to make serious connections. And I think that's the stuff that isn't talked about in relation to Dubai. And that's the bit that is my daily life. My daily life is filled with meeting incredible people.
I couldn't agree with you more, because us getting together as women, we can be so empowering. And what I see lately in Dubai, we have such a circle. They're coming from all over the world. We can connect. And what's the best part? Women from different industries. Like, look at us. I'm in real estate. You're in mental health. We had women who are into smart homes, and then that connects real estate, interior design, mental health. the most amazing thing I've heard, by the way. That event that we just recently had was amazing.
It was, yeah. We had an amazing energy and conversation. And I think this idea around well-being in real estate is really revolutionary. And I think it's the future. The next 10 years are going to be around this topic. And it's what happens when you bring, you brought a lot of people together from the world of design, well-being design, interior design, architectural design. We were having a conversation around perception and how your well-being is influenced by the perception of the architecture of the space,
right?
Which is so fascinating and something you and I could talk about for a really long time.
But I know.
Bringing together all these ideas, and honestly, these are the conversations that I'm having regularly here. And Dubai nurtures that creativity, that talent, that ability to really carve out what it is that you want to do and follow that. And you can really meet incredible people. And I think that Thursday was testament to that.
For me personally, I'm obsessed with real estate. I didn't realize that it's going to a next level. That's what I said. You wake up in the morning, your curtains open up, your light are adjusted according to your needs. Your house is connected to your body. It knows your body temperature, right? Your blood pressure, you name it. And it's all coming.
Yeah, it's already here. Technology and the way that we can link it to our well-being, the technology is here. And as you said, it ranges from being able to connect your digital biomarkers to your smart home. So before you come home, the AC is adjusted, the light is adjusted for your circadian rhythm, the curtains might be drawn if you need to have a little bit different lighting. That's basic. That's reactive tech. The other tech that is available, which is proactive, predictive, and preventative, this is about the idea that we spend 90% of our time indoors, between four walls. And so we have to start optimizing those spaces for our well-being. And when you think that 70% of our health is influenced by our environment, only 30% is about what you eat or what you do as a gym or meditation or whatever else you might do. 70% is about your environment. So we can't begin to talk about health without talking about our environment. And Dubai is very well positioned to take advantage of this because we're building from scratch.
Right.
We're building buildings from scratch, villas, offices, residential homes. We can now integrate some of this technology into the walls of these buildings and take well-being to the next level. And that will set Dubai apart as a world leader in the next generation of real estate.
I agree with you. It's revolutionary. It's a different level. The future is there. And we have an obscene amount of construction here, projects popping up. And I don't see that many yet that offer this. But I think they will soon. They have to.
Yeah.
And this is like a perfect playground for Dubai developers. Dubai developers, a perfect playground to implement this technology.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And also like what you said, that we spend quite a lot of time at home. And that's why I'm so passionate about real estate, that creating a perfect home when you feel good, when you feel relaxed, when you just come and you recharge. I think this is so important.
Yeah, it's so true. And we now have the ability to deeply personalize that. There's a lot of talk around precision wellness in real estate. And there's not a lot of people, I think, who are truly doing that, because precision wellness requires measurement and it requires ongoing data around the person's health. So if it's your home, you want to know the rhythms of your heart rate, your breathing, your cortisol levels, your sweat levels, and the way that your body is functioning. Now, if you have all that data and then you link that to your home and you're able to optimize the environment, the dust, the AC, all of those things that we talked about,
I know.
But then also integrate solutions like ours where it comes to mental health, which is using sound frequency, you can now add a mental health component. So we're talking mind, body connected. and your home is optimizing that for you. And that's really the exciting future, I think.
This is insane. You know, looking back 25 years ago when I just came, Dubai was so small. I would never imagine that we will be here now talking about this stuff, that it's going to be possible.
Yeah.
And I don't think Sheikh Mohammed either, you know, like, because he had an amazing vision, but I think he did way better than I think he
Well,
could.
you say that, but I remember watching an interview with Sheikh Mohammed, and he talked about this journalist, and she asked him the question, what percentage of your vision have you realized? And he said, about 10%. And 2 years later, he met the same journalist, and she said, what about now? And I'm paraphrasing the quote. And he said, now it's 7%. And she asked him, like, why has it gone down? And his answer was so incredible. His answer was that what he imagined was possible became so much bigger that actually he'd only achieved 7% of what his vision. And I think it's an important lesson on vision and how it can be ever evolving, that if you get stuck in what you think, you get caught up in what you're doing, but actually when you take a step back and look at the broader vision, like for example in real estate, if you're building a building and then suddenly you realize actually I could incorporate better technology or more technology, or I could really optimize what I'm building, then you can really start to say that your vision is broadening and expanding and you've only achieved a small part of that. But that's just testament to what an amazing man he is, that he had the humility to say that as someone who's built this incredible city. And I'll always admire him for what he said there.
I think we all do. And the fact that they manage to keep the culture, you know, and welcome all of us. So Dubai has this phenomenal side. Local people here, you know, they have everything. They kept that touch, their heritage, their culture. Yet we here, you know, we see also the social life, the restaurants, the vibe, like New York and London. It's all happening.
Yeah.
We're not deprived here.
Definitely not. The world's best restaurants are all here. The world's best chefs are all here. You know, the world's best bars are all here. Like it's an amazing place. You know, I think people watching this who haven't been to Dubai will probably be thinking the same that a lot of people think. Where's the culture? Where's the history? But if you come here and you get into the heart of Dubai, you will see that. You'll see the history, you'll see the culture. And culture means different things to different people. Yes, if you want the London theatre scene, then you're not going to get that here. We get snippets of it. We've got Dubai Opera, which brings some amazing shows. But if you want a different kind of culture, a different history, the history of civilization is in the Middle East. Everything started from here. The oldest country in the world is in the Middle East. And so that's a different level of culture and understanding that is so fascinating. And I think that this country brings together so many different types of people that I would never have met from different areas and different countries and different ideologies. And isn't that what's exciting for, as you move through life?
Absolutely. You and I, look how we've met.
Yeah.
I'm at my MBA, I've met your husband, and then I met you. The networking circles here are absolutely amazing. I love it. Dubai brings on the nationalities, people from different backgrounds, fields. And I love that. And it keeps growing. So they're doing an amazing job.
No, they are.
Sheena, you've attended Dubai International Property Show. How was that?
So I was speaking on a panel about well-being in real estate. And so it was really interesting. And I met a lot of interesting people afterwards who were really fascinated by this topic, as you were when we first talked about it.
I was.
And they wanted to understand it's not just, okay, it sounds like a nice to have, that optimizing your space is great for your health, but that's great. Is it going to cost me more? And obviously developers and investors want to know about the returns. And we actually did some modeling on this because we're really looking at how to bring our tech as well and bring an ecosystem of technology into this space in Dubai. And it's really interesting that by incorporating well-being focused technology in the apartments, residences, and offices, you can command 4 to 7% per square foot more for rent. and 15% per square foot more on the sale price. So just to let that sink in, this isn't just about optimizing people's health.
Right.
This is actually real investment returns because you're differentiating yourself in the market, and the next generation coming up, they are demanding well-being.
Yeah.
They're demanding it from their workplace and they're demanding it from their home. And we did some early work in the UK with an investment bank around mental health and well-being of their employees. And the disconnect between what they thought was the initiatives they had and how well they were doing, and actually the fact that they couldn't recruit the best talent anymore because they were not offering well-being solutions. And they were a very big name, they were very well established, and they thought that name was enough. But actually, they were losing out to the tech companies, to the Google, Meta, Amazon, who were offering a better work-life balance, maybe slightly less salary, but they were offering more, and that was all around well-being. So when you look at attracting the best talent to work for you through to selling your new building to the next generation, they're demanding more from their spaces, and I think it's the opportunity to give it to them.
I agree with you. And well-being, mental health, it's like such hot topics these days. I wanted to ask you a bit more about your app.
Yes.
How does that work?
So I started StressPoint Health in the UK following my own experiences with PTSD and burnout. And I was really keen to understand why we were very focused on talk therapy and the way that our mind thinks and behaves instead of how we feel. And what's interesting is when we process information, we process with emotions first. And that actually is the knock-on effect for everything that happens afterwards. So how you think, how you behave is all based in how you felt in that moment. And so we've developed the world's first software solution that can regulate emotions in 20 minutes. We have patented sound frequency technology. So what that means is we're able to use sound frequencies to help you regulate your emotional responses and your nervous system. And it's all personalized to you. So you choose the frequencies that match with your brain and body function. So it's really personalized and tailored to the user.
How does it work? Like a smartwatch, you wear something on your wrist, and it shows on your phone, or?
So it's a smartphone app, and all you do is plug in headphones and then listen to the voice guidance. And then the guidance will tell you, will walk you through the process, and you choose a frequency. So it's it's a feedback loop that is about what you feel and the responses you're having. So it locks into this idea that emotional regulation is very much about how you feel, what your emotional responses are. But in a way, you can't control it because it's the way that you process information.
I see. This is very interesting. I think we need that, especially in Dubai. Life here is so fast going, fast moving.
Yeah, it's true.
I was just talking with my sister the other day, like, oh my goodness, I'm a mom, I have to work, I have to look good, mani-pedi. It's a lot. We have a lot on our plates. And I think we need apps like that.
No, I agree. And I think Dubai has one of the flip sides to Dubai is there is an always on culture. And I think that people are moving quickly. Time seems to go double speed here compared to other places, like the UK. But so there is a lot going on, and people are really busy, and they are working hard, and they're trying to build their lives and be successful. But with that comes burnout, with that comes stress and anxiety. And I think we really need to take more effort to take care of ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why we're here and why we expanded into Dubai, because there's such an opportunity to help people here. And I think the UK talks a lot about mental health, but lacks the action. And I think even though in the UAE, culturally, it's difficult to talk about mental health, they are taking action.
They are.
They recognize that they want to do something for people. And this is how we're able to expand and grow. And we're part of the DIFC Innovation Hub. So we get a lot of support from them as a young company establishing themselves in the region.
Really?
And as a woman as well. There's a lot of support for female entrepreneurs here. And so it just feels like the right place at the right time for us.
That is amazing. I actually love that. And you would think Dubai, out of all places, because from those who live not here, but outside, I often hear the question, oh, but Dubai is so strict. Like, come on, do you cover yourself? Clearly, not everyone understands what Dubai is like. And they're actually the opposite. They support women. They support foreigners, people coming from different cultures.
Yeah.
That is so good to know.
It's the number one question I get asked. Like, how is it being a woman in the Middle East? And can I tell you, it is better than the UK.
It is the best.
If when we, as in the startup world in the UK, there's a lot of statistics around how little funding women get. I think it's something like 3% of venture capital funding goes to women, which is shocking, absolutely shocking. And you come here and it's a different, I have never felt here that I am not progressing because I'm a woman. In fact, the opposite. I think there's a lot of opportunity and visibility and support for women here that makes it, building a business is always going to be hard. Being an entrepreneur is always going to be hard. But I like to say that you need to choose your hard. And every part of the journey is up and down. But here, some of those things are a lot easier, and it's the support and the network and the female solidarity that you get here that I think is just fantastic.
I agree with you. I think here it's such a strategically planned architecture. Everything is so thought of.
Yeah.
And we're being taken care of, not just our kids, but us as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that the population here expanding quite rapidly, and the fact that they're still, managing very well. Because sometimes if too many people come too fast, I always think, oh my God, is Dubai police, are they going to manage? How are they going to manage all the people coming? What if the crime increases? No.
Ali and I always talk about the way that Dubai is so responsive as a city, that if there is a junction that has too much traffic and it's causing a bottleneck for everyone, within a few weeks, you will see a new flyover being built. They are so responsive to people's concerns. And in the UK, I mean, if you could get hold of someone to make a complaint, you'd be winning. But to get them to change anything or do anything, it's impossible.
I agree with you.
Whereas here, they're so quick and they're so nimble. And just driving here today, seeing all the different flyovers that are coming up to ease traffic, and I just don't know any other city in the world like it. Honestly, I really don't.
I agree with you. I always laugh when I'm back home and I'm like, oh, this road has been 5 years? I don't see much improvement.
Yeah, exactly.
In Dubai.
Exactly.
It'll be half of the city.
Or it's dug up and nobody's working on it or doing anything about it. Like, you just wouldn't see that here.
They're here very good. And I have to say, they're taking care of their people.
Yeah.
And look at it, the hospitality. Today we're here in this beautiful resort, and we're so spoiled here in Dubai.
We are spoiled. And as much as it can feel, we are privileged as well. But we've worked hard. I can say, I've worked hard. I've been through a lot of difficulties in my life. PTSD was very difficult to overcome. And so I think sometimes it's just nice to have that breathing space of living in a beautiful city and having a great life and working hard for that. Don't get me wrong. And I think that's the thing that, connects us. We're both hard workers. But just there's an opportunity here that I just really respond to.
I know. It's like we have both. We work hard, we play hard, and here we can we can be in DFC, we can be in a nice French restaurant, we can be in a pub, nightclub, we can go to the desert, like Hatta, right?
Yeah.
Hiking.
Yeah.
Glamping. I love that it's so diverse. You want to go to the beach? No problem.
Yeah.
You want to barbecue? You got it. You want desert? There you go. Safari. We have such huge amount of choices.
No, you're right.
How to spend our free time.
Do. And Dubai is so diverse. I think people don't realize how much diversity there is here. As you said, we go to Hatta, you can go for different things, but also the wider Middle East has that diversity. So if you're from Europe and you're missing that lush greenery, hop on a flight and for 2 hours, you could be in the mountains of Lebanon and experience a different kind of culture and a different kind of greenery. So I think that it's important to remember that the Middle East is more than just Dubai. Dubai is the center of it, but I think there's so much diversity and that's really interesting and beautiful.
I agree with you. There's so much to explore. And a lot of times people, when they come to Dubai, they're new. they don't know. And I think a lot of people may face some mental challenges when they just get there, when they're new to Dubai. What advice would you give to those people?
Yeah, I think it's a really great question and a really important one. From what I see, I think a lot of people come to Dubai with an idea of what it's like, vision in their head, and sometimes the reality hits a bit different. And I think there's two parts to that. I think it's tough being away from friends and family, and I think you can't underestimate that. And it takes time to build your tribe and build your network. But my advice for that is put yourself out there. Dubai has more networking events and conferences and different things that you can go to meet different people than anywhere else. And I remember someone said to me when I first arrived that I said to them, everyone's so open and so happy to help. And she said, everyone was new here once. And I think that's really the key. People are so helpful because they know what it's like. So lean into people when you find your people with common interests, or find groups that you share. If you're a runner, there's running clubs on Kite Beach. If you like to knit and sew or paint, there are creativity clubs. Like, find the things that will give you that personal sense of satisfaction. And then I think it'll help you build and grow your network with like-minded people. The other side of it, I think, is financial. Dubai is an expensive city.
Yes.
I think Ali talked about this, that if you come from London and you move to Dubai, you won't find it that expensive because it's like for like. But if you come from a different part of the UK and you come to Dubai, it will be significantly more expensive. And I think that expectation versus reality can be quite tough because people see what's on Instagram, they want to live that life, and financially that can be a strain.
Yeah.
And that can lead to mental health issues or feeling, down and lonely. So I think it's important to manage your expectations of what Dubai is, live within your means, and yes, build your life, but take the first year to just observe and take stock and find your groove. And I think that'll really help to emotionally and mentally kind of just try to keep more stable and emotionally for it not to be such an emotional roller coaster. I think that's really important.
I think it's a great advice because I do know people who came here, they struggled, they have spent a lot of money. The budget they had was like gone, and they were forced to go back home, and it was a bit of a challenging experience.
It is, yeah. And I think the key difference between when I was here in 2014 and now is the job market. And before, you could come here, there was a lot of buoyancy in the job market, but now because there are so many people coming here and the job market isn't necessarily keeping up with that, I think it's important to have something. If you're in the corporate world or you're looking for a job, I think it's important to have something or make those connections before you come, or do a few trips here. Because here is very much a face-to-face place.
Yes.
People like to meet in person, which I do also like about the place. But you need to sort of build those connections. If you're an entrepreneur, it's different. This place is incredible at supporting entrepreneurs. And I think you will find it, or people will find it very different than places like the UK.
Yes, I think they have this perfect setup. Company license, it's quite easy to open. It's very transparent.
Yeah.
And again, of course, everyone talks no taxes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You can't mention Dubai without not mentioning no taxes.
Yes, so you're right. I think it's just like perfect setup. For those who want to come in here, as I said, whether they're with kids, families, single, makes no difference.
Yeah.
They're very accommodating, and it's very easy for a startup or those who already have business that's established and people moving here. I think they're doing a brilliant job.
No, it's true. And I think we laugh about the no tax, but honestly, it makes such a difference. In the UK where you see your paycheck and 50% goes to the government immediately, or in my case, when whatever you build and earn in your company, a portion of it goes to the government. Here, at least, whatever you build, whatever you earn, it's yours to keep. And I think that's hugely motivating.
I agree. Sheena, I really would like to discuss more about your app. Can you tell me some more about how it works?
Yeah, so we've created the world's first software solution that can regulate emotions in 20 minutes. And we do that using our patented sound frequency technology. And what that means is you can regulate the way that you respond, the way that you act, and the way that you behave. And it's really interesting. We've talked a lot about women and supporting women. And what's really interesting is a lot of people, you'll hear it. As women, we've heard it. Oh, you're so emotional.
Oh, yes.
And, you're acting with your emotions, or you're expressing your emotions. And what's really interesting is that the research will show you that when it comes to processing information, men and women everybody processes information first with their emotions. Men are more impulsive and actually will act on emotion more than women. Women they might outwardly express their emotion, but they might then try to regulate what they're seeing and then think logic and behavior and make a decision. And we were talking about this when we were together with the ladies at the Arts Club, about how you can really use this in your daily life to improve performance and to actually manage men around you potentially. And I was working with a senior COO, and she was talking about her CEO and how he always makes these impulsive decisions and then expects her to implement them. And she said, I don't know how to manage this. And I said, here's a little trick for you. Next time he says something impulsively and you want him, and he says, now we need to implement this, ask him, is that what you really think? Because he won't admit that he's acting on impulse and acting on emotion. And he'll say, yes, that's what I think. And then it opens the door for you to say, well, if that's what you think, can we just game this out a bit? Can we just think through the different steps that are required? And so what you do is you engage him in the thought process and you make him think about what it is and think about all the steps that are involved. And it might just help those impulsive, please do this without thinking about it kind of decisions actually become more well thought out. And this is what we really do in the workplace. We really talk about how you can build in emotional intelligence, empathy, and how that can really improve your performance and decision-making capabilities in the workplace.
This is so interesting. I love it. Manipulating men. Yes.
Well, that's not what I would call it, but...
Wait. Well, okay, us girls. You also mentioned that you can ask a question, same scenario with a man, and then you said, if you don't ask him what you think, then there was another option. What do you feel? Can you touch on that? That was also very good.
So if you say, is that how you feel? He will immediately deny it because generally men don't like to be seen as emotional. So he'll say, no, that's what I think. So again, you get the same response because then if he says, that's what I think, you can then say, okay, let's think this through. Let's game it out. Let's figure out what the next steps are and how we implement this effectively. And it's just a little trick to help frame impulsive decision makers into more well thought out logical behaviors, because emotion influences behavior. And when you are acting on impulse or emotion, you're not making the best decisions and you're not necessarily thinking through logically. Whereas if you'll always respond emotionally, but then if you think that through, you let the emotion subside and you think through logically, your behavior will be more attuned to what you need to achieve.
I agree with you. And this is, again, I wanna, it's so interesting. I want to explore a little bit more here because I also think you mentioned that despite a normal stereotype, women are emotional. I think you said that even though women are emotional, they still listen more to their logical side, where actually men are emotional and they listen to their emotions, whereas women still tend to, okay, no, it's my emotions. I will switch my logic. Like, can you talk more about that?
It comes down to expression of emotions. So women express their emotions more, which is a form of regulation, of self-regulation. So when you express something, you're able to process it. And then the next step is thinking about it. So how we respond is fight or flight, then emotions, then logic and thinking. So if you express an emotion, you're able to self-regulate and then you can behave in a way that might be more logical or might be a better decision. If you don't express the emotion and you act on it and you act on the impulse and it can lead to impulsivity, that's when it can change the way that you think and the way that you behave in a negative way almost, or it becomes something that is just that, impulsive. It's not thought through. It's just a thing that you thought of or the thing that you felt, and that's what you want to happen. And so that's the differential between men and women. The expression of it can be more regulating, whereas the not expressing it but acting on it, and that's the difference, which is really fascinating in psychology.
I love it. We need to talk about it more, maybe on a different episode. More tips for us girls.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not only relationship, like personal man and woman, but it comes to friendship, it comes to work. Oh my God, kids.
Yeah.
They start growing up, they manipulate us or try.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
And this is exactly what the fundamental message that I have around emotional regulation is all about. That I do workshops and I do coaching with senior leaders, and I did something at the Rotary Club a few weeks ago where we talked about what is emotional regulation. I related it to kids. If you've had a stressful day at work and then your kid comes up to you and says, you know, mommy, I want this, and you snap. That's a form of emotional dysregulation. And it can be detrimental to your home life, to your child. And then you feel guilty and you feel shame and all those things that come with it. And so it's really important that stress and anxiety and these daily micro stresses are managed, because burnout is the end. It's the last thing that happens. And we need to take care, and particularly in a fast-paced place like Dubai, where there is a lot of burnout, we have to take care before it becomes a really big issue. Before you get there. Exactly.
I agree with you. Even this morning, we are in a car with kids. They get crazy excited and like acting nuts. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, I need to have my patience. And you're right, it builds up.
Yes.
So you always have to be very cautious of how you act, not to upset your child.
Exactly.
Because of course you get annoyed. Sometimes you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
But you have to be protective of your children, because it's not their fault that they're kids.
Yeah. And we're all human. And the difference between the humans and animals is emotions. It is the ability to think and feel and express that. That's the key difference. So it is what makes us human, but it's also something that we need to manage and create a more balance with for a better home and working life.
That has been very interesting. Thank you so much, Sheena.
Thank you for having me.
Oh. Thank you guys for being with us on this episode. Sheena, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned. We had a really interesting interview with Sheena today. And the main key takeaways from today would be that there's a future in real estate when it comes to smart homes. That not only it's good for the mental health and our well-being, but it's also amazing when it comes to return on investment. That you invest in a property that has that smart home, the ROI is about 5% higher. That was very interesting for me to learn. So it was a brilliant interview. Cannot wait to have more. Stay tuned.